How's Heather? Is she back or
She's well, right now she's out.
okay?
But just for she had a meeting tonight. But yeah, she's doing good. She's a
Good.
badass. So she ran two half marathons in 1 week, which I feel like should count as a whole marathon. But
That does count as a whole marathon.
I guess if you put a week between them, they don't like to, count it. But
I think
but
it
so,
counts.
so she was in Richmond and she ran that one, and then there was one just last weekend in Norfolk, and so that was just a week removed, and so she ran that one
Yeah.
last weekend, and then now she's on the fence. She's not sure if she's going to do a full or not, but she's starting her training as if because there's a full in the spring, I think March. That Shamrock, yeah, I think it's a Shamrock. So
Yeah.
so she's like starting her training as if she's gonna run just to see how how she does with it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, she's doing real good.
And welcome back to another episode of First, Last, and Best. We are back with the reissue. That's right. Brand new episode, our second reissue episode that we're doing. Uh let's see how it goes. Last time, we didn't even really have a start. Jordan and I just kept talking, and I had to go put stuff in later. Which about sums up any and every conversation Jordan and I ever have. So, it works. But today we're going to talk about a different band, and it's actually very, it's perfect the way this happened. But we'll get to that in a second. First, let's talk about social media. We're over on Facebook, facebook.com/, First Lesson Best Podcast. Instagram, same handle, First Lesson Best Podcast. TikTok, same handle, First Lesson Best Podcast. Uh, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and over on YouTube. We are streaming episodes there. Pretty much, we're everywhere. So if you want to listen, go listen. If you want to just look at our reels, you can look at our reels, our song of the day, my vinyl collection over on Instagram. Just all sorts of stuff. We also got some new episodes coming up next week, and then one more before the end of the new year. But this is the last episode where we're focusing on one band. Um, and it's appropriate. There's the word I'm looking for. It is appropriate that we are ending the season the way we started. I restarted this show wanting to talk about the Wonder Years because they have absolutely been one of my favorite bands over the last several years. And after our episode, I remember I actually re-listened to that episode while I was flying to New York for my grandfather's funeral. And I talked about how I was glad we were able to do the episode before this came out because I wanted to talk about The Hum Goes On Forever, and I wasn't 100% sure how I'd like Burst Decay volumes. Um, I'll save my opinions for it for the next couple minutes, but I my mind has been changed. And as appropriate as it is to start with the Wonder Years, end with the Wonder Years, it's even more appropriate to start with Jeff Riggs and to end with Jeff Riggs because this man has been by my side throughout this entire journey. He's been my sounding board. He's been one of my best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome him back to the show, and he'll be back next week for the Christmas finale. It's Jeff. Jeff, welcome back to First, Last, and Best.
Thanks, man. I just come on the podcast just for your intros. I just feel so good after the intro. It's like worth the price of admission.
There you go. I honestly, that's the one thing I consistently get is like, I just like the intros. I don't give a shit about anything else you say, but the intros, that's where it's spot on.
I
So,
just feel gassed up, man. I feel,
yeah, man, we're ready to talk about some shit. We're ready to
yeah,
talk
man.
about music. So like I said, we're gonna be the reissue. We're looking back at the Wonder Years because they did release Burst Decay Volume 3. They also released the 10th anniversary of No Closer to Heaven, but I have not listened to that fully yet. So I think we'll save that for next season.
Sure.
Um, but I will say, I actually bought Burst Decay Volume 3 on vinyl.
Mm,
And oh my God, dude. Like I did not think I can fall any more head over heels in love with the Wonder
yeah.
Years. Because I went back and I listened to the second Burst Decay album, and it was okay. It was good, but it wasn't like quite what I was hoping, I guess is the best way to put it. This album, from front to back, starting with Junebug, ending with oh god, I don't remember what it ends with. I think it's hold on, I have it right over here.
Yeah, it's doors I painted shut.
Doors I painted shut.
Yeah.
It's just like almost like an acapella. There's just so much shit they do on this album that I did not expect from them, and it's so good. Like front to back, I just put the album on and just let it go.
Hmm.
I just I dude, I don't know what to say. The Wonder Years keep impressing me. And I know we saw them last October with the Menzingers, but I regret not going to the tour they did to support this album because it was like not full orchestra, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And I've been watching videos since then. I'm just like, oh my God, this had to be probably one of the most intimate, like band to crowd interactions I have ever seen, short of like the MTV Unplugged era
Mm.
with like Dashboard and Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. But this is just so good.
Yeah. That's an experience that I'm sure for the people that were able to be there because they did smaller venues too, right? Like went
Yeah,
for that tour, yeah.
yeah.
And so I'd imagine that's a unforgettable experience. Like in a very different way. Like Heather and I went to Philadelphia for the loneliest fest on earth when they were doing the Greatest Generation anniversary.
Mhm.
They're playing that in its entirety, and so like that was a cool experience to get to go to Philly, see the hometown show, thousands of people, that energy and everything else. Like that was like that's something that like is gonna stay with me, right? Like, but this is like its own distinct, very different experience. Like small club, intimate, totally immersive sound with the string arrangements and everything. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's got a bit of FOMO. That would have been really awesome to be able to be a part of that because the videos are great.
yeah. And I think just I once again I've talked about this God knows how many times on the show at this point, and I'm going to continue to talk about it for the rest of my life or for the rest of the time I do this show. The evolution of what they were to what they are now is it's so completely different, but it's so perfect. Like I probably have a tendency to over exaggerate and use that term entirely too much when it comes to bands that I really do love. But it's just going from an album like The Hum Goes On Forever, which once again was another step in their songwriting, just progression and evolution to who they are as a band, to just reorganizing and retooling songs, but also putting out songs like Junebug, putting out songs like Ocean Grew Hands to Hold Me. I just it's so completely different, yet still so much like the Wonder Years.
Hmm.
And it just seems right.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. There are bands um, that do evolve creatively over time. And I'm thinking of bands like Thrice and some others that like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
intentional. They're like, okay, we're going to, evolve our sound for this album. We don't want to make the same album again and again and again, right? And I think sometimes, so I never fault a band for that because you have to have integrity to your creative vision and what you want to do. But sometimes a band will lose me. Like if I really like a band, I really like their sound, and then they continue to evolve and change it as they go on. Like sometimes they'll leave me behind. And again, I don't fault them for that, but I'm like, yeah, that's not a band I'm interested in listening to. Like I liked this sound.
Yeah.
Wonder Years have always managed to evolve and become more artistic and more mature, but always coming back to that same core that you can listen to, you can hear. The hum goes on, and you can hear the upsides. And yeah, there's some pretty drastic changes, not just in like production quality, but like songwriting and other things. But you also hear like, no, at the core, this is the same. This is the same group.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, they're not becoming a new band for each album, or there's a through line that stays true to the core of who they are, and so yeah, they're able to evolve and continue to mature without leaving. Just speaking subjectively, without leaving me behind. Like I love
Yeah.
that they're still the same core to who they are. They're yeah, their work ethic, their creative force, the attitude behind it, and Soupy's vocals kind of keeping it all, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
So yeah, no, they're fantastic. If
But I
we can do a love fest and just gush the whole
that's
time.
basically what we're gonna be doing. I mean, there is just seems to be a natural progressions, and some bands I feel like fight against that. I will say, like, I don't mean to talk shit, but Newfound Glory has lost me a very long time ago because it felt like there was no real progression, or the progression they made wasn't quite my alley. But I think that's really for another episode. Uh,
I listen. I blame the fans. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because when they put out Coming Home, which did evolve creatively. They brought some piano in there. They
yeah,
softened a little bit. They did the backlash to Coming Home was so
that's
strong
true.
that they like immediately were like, just kidding, let's put out the old Newfound Glory
Yeah,
album again. And
four chords, three chords, first chorus, bridge, chorus, end.
yeah,
So
and there has not like yeah, you basically you can put on their latest album, and it doesn't sound that much evolved from Catalyst or Sticks and
yeah,
Stones. Um, there's some of the new stuff I like better than others. We're not getting into Newfound Glory, but I
yeah.
do, because I remember how terribly the fan base reacted to Coming Home. And then
I
now you
thought
go
that
back and
album was
listen to
pretty good.
it's so good. If you go back and listen to it now, it's
Yeah,
incredible. But this it was the same. There's just this. I don't know if it's gatekeepy or if it's just like um or just not wanting people like to evolve or like to sell out or whatever. But like people were the same way with Reliant K. Like when came out,
yeah.
I remember people just being like, "Oh, Thiessen went and got piano lessons, and now he wants to be a real artist." Like, and it's like you go back and listen, and it's an incredible pop punk album.
It
Like
is.
it's and so, yeah, there was
He
definitely.
cracks me up though, that teasing. But that's once again another episode because
But yeah, so all that to say, I don't think it's as bad now as it used to be. But there used to be a real resistance in fandoms for bands
the
evolving that I
change.
think
Yeah,
bands either had to um, either just like, okay, screw it, we'll just keep making the same album over and over again, or they had to say, screw it, we're going to evolve how we want and lose whoever we lose. Um, and but I don't know if that mentality is as strong as it used to be. But yeah, it used to be
no.
real. I mean, I think I was one of them. Like if a band, you know, changed or changed their sound, I would get mad
And,
because.
I will admit that I was that way, especially with the starting line. Um, but now as I've gotten older, I think the natural progression of the band, I mean, it needs to happen because otherwise they're not really being true to themselves. And I find that more abhorrent than really anything else.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather see a band continue to evolve and change and be who they're meant to be versus like continuing to just put out records that sound the same one after another just for the sake of making money.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, you please the fan base, for the most part, but at the same time, are you really putting out what you want to put out? I mean, eventually, like you splinter and you break and I remember it was a line from Bohemian Rhapsody movie, where it was Freddie Mercury. He was saying, "I went to Munich and I hired three guys and I told them what to do, and the worst thing that happened was they did it." And it's like, we're telling you, no, we only want this. And you're like, okay, we'll do that then. You know,
Yeah.
you don't listen to us. We're stupid. We don't know what we like. So
Well, and it's real easy to plateau, not just creatively too, but even your growth as a band, because like, yeah, you'll keep pleasing that same small contingent of fans, but like
yeah,
you never open yourself up to like, new audiences and new people being able to appreciate what you do. So you kind of not only stifle yourself creatively, but you also like stifle your ability to grow and get into new markets and stuff. So
it's true.
um,
So, whereas that brings us back to the Wonder Years, and oh my God, they're amazing. But I also think I'm finding them and really kind of falling in love with them like around the right time of my life where, I listened to the upsides and I listened to Suburbia and I started getting annoyed with Suburbia because wasn't the upsides. And then I stopped listening to them for a while. And then I listened to The Greatest Generation when I was a little bit older. And I was like, okay, I'm now more open philosophically and just mentally to listen to a band and, follow that creative track that they had.
mhm.
So maybe it's just that, like I've reached a point in my life where, hey, change is going to happen. Let's give everyone a chance to change how they want to change. And when it comes to music, sometimes that's good. And the Wonder Years continue to, you know, make insanely good music. I'm still not, Sister Cities is still my least favorite album they've done, but it's still a good album. Because I went
Oh
back
yeah.
and re-listened to it again and tried to keep an open mind. And I was definitely able to jam it a little bit better, but it's still in comparison to even to upsides and in comparison to Suburbia and the Greatest Generation and closer, no closer to heaven and Hum Goes On Forever. It's not quite hitting that peak,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's still solidly well put together.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. That I think I don't know if it came up in our first Wonder Years episode, but uh, that one comes in at the bottom for me as well.
yeah,
But yeah, and so it'd be like, oh yeah, I don't, that album's whatever, and then you put it on, and you're still like screaming at the top of your lungs, like
still a great album.
a line in the sand. Like
Yes.
the songs are still, yeah, it doesn't meet the other albums, but they're still like songs you can't help but sing along when you put it
Oh,
on.
absolutely. Um, so do you have any songs on here that you consider like what do you think is the best song they put together on this album? I mean,
On the
a lot of it is like on Burst and Decay. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them are covers of their own songs and just reimagined. Like, is there any that really stick out to you?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like I love I mean the it's hard not to like Came Out Swinging is their
Yeah,
biggest song, right? And so I think that one had the most pressure on it. Like I remember just looking at the track list before I was even listening to the album, feeling like I was like hesitant to listen to it because there was so much pressure like for that song to be good.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's the standout for me on like there's a lot of good tracks on here, but I love the way that they tackled it. I don't know if we're gonna get into like specifics around like arrangement and stuff like that, but like um the way that they laid the song out dynamically, giving it some low points so that they could build the high points. And then
yeah,
when you get to that iconic bridge, like I was real like, how are they going to do this in a way that keeps the energy of that bridge, but like isn't just like well, I'm just gonna keep playing louder, or or we're just gonna
yeah,
keep whatever. And the way that they move to like the gang vocals to come in, like to bring it that energy of like feeling like you're in a room with a bunch of people screaming that bridge live, the string arrangements over that bridge, the yeah the so it delivered everything with like, the way they moved to like the quarter notes to open it up rhythmically. And yeah, I think that one had the most pressure on it to deliver, and they absolutely exceeded expectations. So that's a big standout for me. The other probably biggest standout for me is the closer, Doors I Painted Shut.
Yes.
And part of it is because I love that song. Like it's an incredible song on, The Hum Goes On in its own right. The way that they reimagined it with such heavy uh, effects and processing on the vocals is not something I generally like. Almost like a Enya or like a kind of effect on the vocal. It's not something I usually like, really heavy over processed stuff. But oh my god, it's so good the way they commit to it, all the different like vocal parts that are in it. Like yeah, so just to pick two off of how many tracks are on here? Nine. So which one of those is that string interlude? So yeah, out of like 8 tracks, if I were to pick two standouts, it would be Came Out Swinging and Doors I Painted Shut are just my two favorite off of the album.
I will say, like, of all the videos that I saw them play from that tour, Came Out Swinging is just, it feels like another level. Like, just, I love the way they close out their shows, begin with that song, but then this, how they close it out, and Dan just like crowd surfing still, and just like the crowd is so into it and so passionate about it. I love that. But in all honesty, the one song that really sticks out to me is The Ocean Grew Hands to Home. There's
Yeah.
something about that song that just, especially over the last several weeks, there's just something about that song that just kind of grips me and floats me and just makes me almost like burst in tears. Listen,
Yeah.
I love that song, dude. I, I keep doing this when it comes to like songs that I like or something like that. And just that song literally just takes the Wonder Years to a whole. I oh God, fantastic. I love this album. I love putting it on. Actually, I was listening to it earlier today and it ended. And Bobby's been doing this a lot with me, where he'll like, if I'm listening to something or Caitlin's listening to something on the record player, he'll like come up to it, like put the needle. I'm so scared of this because I feel like he's gonna scratch shit out any record we have. But he came up to my record player today and he just restarted.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's actually enjoying the music or not, but I like to think that yes, he is, and he wants to hear it. So that
Yeah.
makes me good.
Yeah, that's a good one. And speaking of, good tracks from sister cities, like there are standout songs. And that's a great one. That it has a very different vibe. Um uh but that sits in its niche really, really well and delivers. And really you can't talk about this album. Like the reason that this album uh, I don't think this is controversial to say, but I think the reason that this album gets so elevated above the last two Burst Decay albums,
Yeah.
is just the inclusion of the Little Cruda like string
Oh yeah.
ensemble. Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah.
their
Dude.
their parts on every song that they play on, which is the vast majority, are so beautiful. Um,
I think maybe Junebug is the only song where they don't feature.
I was thinking maybe Wyatt song too. I couldn't remember.
No,
Are they
I'm
on
looking
Wyatt
at it
song?
now. They're on Wyatt's song. So the
Okay.
only two tracks that Lil Frida is not on is Doors I Painted Shut and June.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, Joe Taylor from Knuckle Pop Kids on Came Out Swinging.
Yeah,
Uh,
the features like outside of the string ensemble, the other like vocal features they got to come on were really cool. And is another thing that helps these songs stand apart from their originals a little bit, like give it a little bit of a different flavor, is just by some of the inclusion of these features.
oh yeah.
But yeah, the string arrangements and the parts, they are. I don't even know if I could call them the unsung heroes of the album because I feel like everybody who listens would agree. Like, yeah, that's what makes these songs like takes them to another level.
Like,
Um,
yeah, they're changing everything up, or they're changing up what has been tested and shown to be a really great song,
mhm.
spinning it on its head and seeing what the hell happens. But it's the string arrangement that really drives me home.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Um,
I don't know. I don't know who did the arranging. You know, like I don't know if Dan or some of the guys in the Wonder Years sent parts, or if they just like sent songs or like, hey, are you arranging is what you do? Like you know, what would you do with this? I don't know if it was collaborative,
yeah,
but whatever the secret sauce was,
it
man,
worked.
yeah, it worked. So like, yeah, that's what makes this album shine so hard, I think, is those string parts.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they're beautiful, man. And they're um they do what they need to do at any given time. Like when you just need something ambient and like supportive, it's there. But then you know, I know I already went off about it a little bit, but you get to that bridge and came out swinging, and then you like have the almost a counter melody of string parts going on that like
yes,
really just helps bring energy and intensity to that build. And yeah, oh man, they just that yeah, like I said, unsung hero doesn't seem fair because I feel like they are the like it's almost a spotlight on them. How good they make these songs.
that's true. All right, so I think there's only one real way that we can end this episode, and that is with this question: has your top three changed?
Mm.
Not necessarily because of this album, but from April when we put out the first episode to now, do you feel like even with the inclusion of this album, that your top three has changed?
That's a really good question. I'm thinking back
Give me
because
a second.
I should have re-listened to the episode. I know Cardinals was my number one,
It
and then
was
was it Don't Let Me.
Cardinals. Cardinals was one.
Mhm,
Dismantling Summer was two.
mhm.
Don't Let Me Cave In is three.
Okay, yeah. Um, has it changed? It's hard, man, because it was so hard to come, you know, to narrow down to three, anyways. Like you know, I know your number one was, you know, Sell Out My Funeral. And I'm like, yeah, like that easily. You know, I almost had to like exclude that, like, yeah. So it's hard to say. I'm going to say no. I don't think my top three has changed, but in as much as, you know, there were 10 songs that could have easily been swapped in for some of those top three because they're that
Yeah,
good. Yeah, this version of Came Out Swinging definitely would be up in conversation for top
yeah,
three. Um, I think it's real easy to compartmentalize because they're covers. Um, that it's like, okay, well, you know, if I'm gonna pick Came Out Swinging, I'm gonna pick the studio version or whatever or the original. But this arrangement is it's incredible in its own right, not just
yeah.
because of the song that it's a cover of.
I got you.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna say no. I think I'm gonna keep my three, but yeah, there's one or two songs on this album that are certainly in contention for duking it out up there at the top.
I will say my
Can you
top,
remind me what your three were too?
my three at the first episode was I Just Want to Sell Out My Funeral. Number two was Came Out Swinging. Number three was Goddamn It All.
Hmm.
I will say my top three has changed dramatically.
Okay, okay.
Came Out Swinging and Goddamn It All are gone.
Oh wow. All right.
In the number three spot, and it is this arrangement, the Ocean Grew Hands Still Hit. I Just Want to Sell At My Funeral drops to two.
Okay, okay.
You're the reason I don't want the world to end. It's my number.
Yeah.
That song over the last several months, because I've been listening to The Hum Goes On Forever a lot the last like month or two,
Uh-huh.
and that album is if it literally wasn't for like just how the greatest generation is arranged, I would say The Hum Goes On Forever is in contention to my for my favorite album.
Yeah.
But just the way that album is arranged and the way it ends with, oh my God. So it's like it's give me a second. Let me It goes low tide, Laura and the Beehive, old friends like lost teeth. Then you're going into You're the Reason I Don't Want the World to End.
Mhm.
And those four songs in a row just hit in a way. And I don't know what it is. It's just You're the Reason I Don't Want the World to End. I did not think any song could outdo I Just Want to Sell Out My Funeral, but this one does.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that I when I was thinking about the concept for this episode and doing the how does your top three change, I didn't think that my number one would change.
Mhm.
But just with like putting together a mental health playlist and just thinking about it and everything else, I was very surprised with myself when I didn't know. I just want to sell it. I think it was an amazing song and it's well put together and it's kind of like a song, but it's no longer like it. So
Yeah. No, that's I mean, the only knock that Hum Goes On has against it is that it's not Greatest Generation. Like
yeah, pretty much.
that's the only knock against it. Because yeah, it is every bit as good as Greatest Generation. And I think if Greatest Generation didn't have both the personal impact and like the scene impact that it had,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think Hum Goes On. And I think for a lot of people, it is like it's 1A and 1B, especially the ones that had like grown up with that have been around since Greatest Generation. Like Hum
Yeah.
Goes On feels like a sequel to Greatest Generation to me.
Yeah.
Um, it covers a lot of the same emotional notes, um, and but in a mature way. And both of us, being fathers and
Yeah.
the dealing living vicariously through Dan, dealing with that. It's one of the reasons I love Doors I Painted Shut is that feeling of like um, going from working on yourself for your own sake to now, like, how does my mental health and my um, like me doing inner work, like not for my own sake, but for the sake of my kids and my family and like
Yeah.
uh, you know, suddenly my mental health is not just a me thing. Like my mental health now
It
affects
affects
my
everyone
kids.
around me.
Yeah, both in the short term, like, hey, Dada, will you play with me? Will you do this with me? Like, not just in the short term, but like the long term of like, what are they learning about,
Yeah.
what it is to be human and
Yeah.
like and to care for people. And so yeah, it's that transition is emotionally significant. um it's why it didn't come up as my favorite too, but it's why I love Junebug too,
Yeah.
the original that he wrote for this. It feels like a sister song to Wyatt's song. And yeah, just that all those fatherhood feelings hit hard. So yeah, no, I don't fault you at all for swapping up that top three. I think if I allowed myself to, mine could easily swap too. But I feel like it was so hard to get there to begin with that I was, and each one has its reason for being there. Um, that I'm like, no, yeah, I'm okay sitting with these. But there are definitely, uh, yeah, some songs that I can't listen to Laura and the Beehive without crying. Still,
Yeah.
like that I don't think I've ever made it through that song without tearing up. And both of us having had grandparents pass recently
Yeah.
makes that fresh, all over again. So yeah, man, they you can't go wrong. Any top three can't go wrong.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode. This is honestly why I like doing the reissue, because it really does give us a chance to really think about like uh, how we see this album or how we see a band. And I love it, dude. I really, really do.
There's
No,
just too much Wonder Years love to confine to one episode, man.
it
So we
really is. So we got to put it in the 2 episodes.
will never
So
never beat the fanboy allegations, that's for sure.
hell no. So so that's gonna be it. Next week, I'm actually really excited because I know I had originally posted um that we were going to do 2 episodes. One was going to be uh Christmas classics, the other is Christmas modern. However, we've decided that it's just let's just I don't have the time to do that. So we are doing just one great big Christmas finale where we will be discussing Christmas music past and present. And honestly, just some fun games and some good just discussion about Christmas music. Jeff will be joining us. There is a very real possibility that we will be having a very special guest join us as well. I got to confirm that, but it's looking like that's going to happen. So you will find out next week if it is. So we'll see you next week for the Christmas finale. And Jeff, thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for listening and dealing with me and my little break that I had. And we will see you next time. Have a good night.